I'm gonna put a Google Map screenshot on here so you can see. There's a lot of places like this in North Carolina and West Virginia, but it's hard. They're not so common in Kentucky until you get down in Pike County and Hazard County, down toward the border, over toward Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. So we're in the Daniel Boone National Forest today. Just looking around. I'm actually on my way to get my license renewed. It's too muddy to work. I can't build my houses and farm or fence or cut timber or do anything, cut firewood, because it's just too wet. So I figured I'd drive out through here. I used to come out here a lot and look for ginseng. It's a pretty big area out here. I used to come out here a lot. This camera doesn't pick up those mountains in the background very well, but I wouldn't dig it. I wouldn't dig the ginseng. I'd just come out here and find it. And I got a map actually where all the ginseng is that I found over the years. I haven't been out here for probably, I don't know, 8 years probably since I've been in this place. And it's just, this road cuts out through the forest here about 5 miles. So you got about, and there's a gate up back here. There's a gate up back here about a mile behind me, and you can't go any farther. You can walk farther, and it goes another 5 miles after the gate. So the gate's a halfway point. So this place is a 10-mile long and about a 4-mile wide section with no houses, no anything, just lots of hills and trees and just a road running main ridge line, and they cut a road out it, and so here we are. I came out here and I would find ginseng and yellow root, and I would do all these things. Look at this tree that's here. This is an old growth. They've already timbered this once. They call it a national forest, but they still cut the timber in it. They say they need to, but that's not true. They're just greedy. Now, can you imagine if the whole forest was old growth like that tree right there? I guarantee you that tree right there is over 100, 150 years old. And if you look around, you know, all these spindly little trees here, what it is, guys, when you're cutting timber, trees like that, they're pretty and they're big and they're majestic and all this stuff, but the timber companies wants these trees like that one, straight up, no limbs, you know, because the big large trees like that one, you know, you can make lumber out of it, but the long straight ones tend to be better grade lumber, just because it's not so crooked and big. And anyway, there's one here and there, but I'm gonna take you up here and we're gonna show you some more stuff. Right there is one of the ash trees. It was an old growth ash tree. Those Asian beetles came over from China or wherever they're from over there in Asia, and they killed all the ash trees. There's not any ash trees left, and something's actually born into these oak trees too. I hope it's not the same kind of thing. But that dead tree is an ash tree. It's been dead a while, you know, 10 years, and there isn't no more. I haven't seen any live ash trees. Try to get some good shots, if you can see through the trees of the mountaintops, you know. It just goes on forever. You can see mountains, the tops of these hills forever and ever and ever. But it's hard to see through all these trees, you know. Even though it's been timbered, it's still really really nice. You know, it's not overly timbered. This here would have been timbered, you know, 25 years ago. That's why it's all little scrubby stuff, but it isn't full of debris, and that's a good thing. And the canopy still blocks out the sun in the summertime from the forest floor. You know, there's enough greenery up there to block it, and for the cool, moist ecosystems to support all the bugs and worms, all that kind of thing is still working. So at least they didn't clear cut it and just destroy it. You know, a clear cut takes over 100 years to really fully mature back into some nice trees and ecosystems to be reestablished for all the beetles and caterpillars and all those things. You know, there's thousands and thousands of worms and bugs and critters and spiders, you know, mosquitoes and flies and gnats, ticks, all these things we hate. I could do without them, the ticks and the flies and mosquitoes, but you know, they gotta be there. If it's not there, then the birds and the turkeys doesn't have much to eat. You know, they eat the flies and the mosquitoes and the ticks and so on and so forth. So that's how it is. What I'm getting ready to show you is this power line comes through here, and it's not the prettiest thing to look at, but it'll give you a size reference of these hills and small mountains and stuff. See, all right, now we got the power line that cuts through. This is the brush line where I come out here. I have picked blackberries before here, but you can see how steep the hills are around here, about 45-degree angles, and it's amazing how they got the trucks and things out here to put these power lines up. And what they did is on each hilltop in a straight line, they set a power pole, you know, a structure to hold the lines up. And it's like that for miles and miles and miles. You can see in the background those mountaintops that's way far back there that looks like they're blue. That's probably 3 miles, 3 or 4 miles maybe. And the one that you can't hardly see, you can't pick it up on the video, the very last one I can see is probably 5 or 6 miles from here. And it's amazing how they got this stuff together. And another thing that's amazing is these power lines are essentially extension cords, you know, ran from the power plants down on the Ohio River. That's where all this power comes from, the Ohio River, and up in Ashland, Maysville, Kentucky, on down in towards Cincinnati, all through there where the power plants are. That's where all the power comes from to this area, which is, you know, they're pushing this power 60, 70 miles, 80 miles, 100 miles on these extension cords, I'm gonna call them. And it's amazing because if you take an extension cord and plug it into your house, and you got the 300-foot extension cords, and you plug 3 of them up, plug it into your 110 outlet at your house, by the time you get 300 feet out, there almost isn't enough electric to run a circular saw. And it's really hard on the stuff because it ain't have it. It's what it is. It's just like anything else. Power runs to decline. It goes into a drop. Everything in the universe tends to go to an equal, you know, the energy loss will go to equal or and distribute out evenly. So as the power's running down that 300 feet of cord, it's losing in heat going down the cords. Heat. That's the friction or resistance. And the same thing with these big lines here. When they leave those power plants, They send this stuff out in 3-phase out of a transformer that transforms it up to thousands, tens of thousands of volts. And then when it gets close to the city, you'll see these different sites where the transformers are. And there'll be a fenced off area with a bunch of electrical equipment and big square cases, you know. And it goes into that, and it'll either step it up or step it down. And the little round transformer beside your house, on your house pole, the one that comes into your house, that's a step down. When it hits to there, it steps it down to 220 volts, 200 amps. That's what comes into your house. And if they didn't do that, if they just ran it straight from the generators, you know, the generators are just like this one here, except they're massive. It has a this right here is the generator. This is where the power comes from. And down at the power plants, they do the same thing with steam. They use the Ohio River water, and they heat it up with coal, and the steam goes through and turns the turbine. Well, this one here runs off an engine that turns the turbine, or the generator, and the power comes out. This one's got a transformer in it as well that regulates it to, got a 240 volt and a 120 volt. So this produces more than 240, and they step it down to run into the 240, and then they, where the breaker box is, it steps it down again to 120. It's the same thing at the other place. That's the same thing they do there. And if they didn't step the volts up, by the time there wouldn't be no electric left on it by the time I got here, and the power lines would be so hot. I don't know if I can get up here and get a shot at the other way. I'll see. So here's the other side. It's a little prettier. These briar patches, blackberry bushes is what they are. So that one goes and goes and goes, and that last hilltop that I can see is probably 2 or 3 miles. The woods are a little prettier on this side. This is the cooler side. The sun doesn't hit this as much. Trees are bigger over there. You can look around on the hilltops. If you see trees that's sticking up 20 feet higher than the other trees, see right in there, those couple bunches of trees that's 20 feet higher than the other ones or so, you know that those are big trees. Those are big trees. And over here we got one right there that's sticking up higher than the rest of them. So that one's a large, very large tree. That's how you can tell from a far distance what trees, where to go if you're looking for large trees. Right there's a real big one. You see that tree top right in the middle sticking up? It's a large one. So I just figured I'd share that with you. I'm gonna go and get back in the truck, get through the briar patch. But yeah, you can pick the blackberries in these briar patches if you're brave enough. Usually these briar patches, gotta watch out for snakes, copperheads, rattlesnakes, ticks, loads of ticks. And of course you gotta be leery of bears. Bears like the blackberries, possum grapes and stuff like that. All right, I'm gonna get back in my truck. It's good to have places like this for public use. You know, you can come out here, you can spend a couple days out here walking around and camping, and you can stay overnight. It's okay. I'm not sure if you even need to get a permit or whatever. I think you can just come out here and stay. You know, it might be good to check with your state office or something and ask them what you might have to do if you want to camp out here, but I'm pretty sure you can just come out here and stay. They got some orange ribbons down there. Several of them. I'm hoping that they're not planning on cutting this timber. You never know about the state. They're greedy. Ain't much timber in there to be cutting. They got some back there marked too. I mean, this is pretty scrubby. I can't imagine they want to cut timber down there. There isn't any timber there, just one or two poplar trees maybe. I don't know why they got those marked. It's usually not good though. Just like whenever a policeman comes. It's like whenever a police officer comes to you uninvited, it's never a good thing, you know. I don't think I've ever had any good things happen from a police officer finding me and wanting to talk to me. It's just like markers in the woods. You see orange markers, it's usually not good. You know, it's over a dispute or logging markers, boundary markers. But yeah, this is a nice place to come. There's some places over near Cave Run in Moorhead actually. Been spending a lot of time over in this area. Cave Run Lake is a very large man-made lake. Got a nice spillway and really nice scenery around. Giant hills, you know, pretty large hills. Lots and lots of hiking and camping. It's bigger than this place, and it's really nice if you ever get a chance. You know, it's not Miami Beach, Florida, but Cave Run in Kentucky is a nice place to visit in the summertime. And of course they got places you can rent jet skis and boats, stuff like that. We're still going. Got a truck behind me. I don't know where they came from. I didn't see them out there. So I'm having to speed it up a little bit. I'll try to get on out of here. If I see something, I will stop and look at it. 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 I don't know what I'm saying. If I see something worth looking at, I will stop and look at it. So, but yeah, I used to dig ginseng, or not, I didn't dig ginseng, I used to come here ginsenging, and I found a bunch down in there, a bunch, right here beside the road. It was loaded, pounds and pounds and pounds, you know, probably $5,000 worth, and I didn't dig it. And then I came back a couple weeks later, and some of my friends had found it, and they dug every bit of it. Every little piece of it's gone. And they were happy. I didn't tell them that I knew where it was at, but it did upset me a little bit. So, like and subscribe. I'm gonna hyperlapse at the end. We'll see what's going on. And keep watching, subscribe, share. Remember, my name's Lauren, and I appreciate you watching.